Hi, I'm Elizabeth Hardesty, one of the therapists here at Faithful and True. One of the things we talk about so often around here with the men and the women that we work with is how important it is to learn how to trust yourself. We often talk about trusting other people. I don't trust him, I don't trust her. And yet one thing we don't often understand and know is, what does it mean to learn how to trust myself? In the work that I do with women who have been betrayed or injured in their relationship, what I find is it often is such a shattering in terms of that trust in themselves. There often are questions that I hear from women asking things such as, how did I not see this? Why was I so stupid? Can I not trust my own judgment? What if I miss something like this again? So the goal of healing is not to become naive again, and it's not to blindly trust again either. We often say around here at Faithful and True that we give trust where trust is earned. And so it's not something that we just are going to give back without there being any expectations or things needed that are tied to that. And so truly the goal has to be, before we can ever ask the question, will I ever trust him again? We have to answer the question, will I ever trust myself again? Do I know what it means to trust myself? So what does it mean when we talk about trusting yourself? It's easy to say, right? It's easy to say, you need to learn how to trust yourself. Just trust yourself. But we often say, what does that really mean? And here's some things that it means and that it doesn't mean. What self-trust does not mean is that we are talking about being certain all the time, that we're going to know that we know that we know. What we are talking about with self-trust is that it means that we're learning how to pay attention to our gut. We're learning how to pay attention to our perception. What is my intuition telling me? What is my gut telling me? What is my body telling me? We're really learning how to slow down and pay more attention to some of those indicators. We learn, for example, how to trust our emotions. We believe here at Faithful and True that our feelings are so important. They may not always be completely understood or even completely factual or accurate. However, feelings are such valid signals. And there's something we want to pay attention to, right? If I'm beginning to feel I'm frightened or I'm feeling anxious, okay, then what is that about? A big word I think that is so important in this journey of trusting yourself is curiosity. Why is it that I feel that way? Where is that coming from? And so we are curious about exploring what that might be trying to tell us. We also learn how to trust our judgment. We learn how to trust just even that next right step in terms of, okay, I think this is what my gut and my intuition are telling me in terms of a next right step. We also learn how to trust our boundaries. We learn how to have our yes, and we learn how to have our no. We learn how to listen to what's okay with us and also what's not okay with us. What brings peace and what brings calm and what brings stability to our bodies and what does the opposite of that. And so also knowing that our boundaries are okay. We can be boundaried people. Also, we learn that I can be a resilient person. I am okay. And I'm going to be okay. I have a foundation below my feet. Trusting ourselves becomes this sense of I don't have to have it all figured out. I don't have to have a crystal ball that tells me what's going to happen 10 days from now, 10 months from now, 10 years from now. I can take the next right step. I can slow down and listen to my gut. I can trust my intuition. I can speak up for myself. I can have my voice. I can have my yes. I can have my no. I can make choices around how I want to move through my life and the choices that I want to make. And at the end of the day, I am going to be okay. I am going to land back on my feet. I know how to take care of myself. One of the mantras around here of the wise adult is I have choices. I have choices. I'm not stuck. I'm not powerless. I don't have to trust another person in order to be okay. Like, first and foremost, I know how to trust myself. So at the core of it, I would say that trust really is this belief that I will not abandon myself. I often say that this really comes down to this place of I will not betray myself. I think for so many of us, if we didn't have this foundation of trusting self, there probably are so many ways when we reflect back on our lives that we have self-abandoned or that we have betrayed ourselves. And so part of this becomes this declaration and dedication to self that says no more, no more. Like, the most important thing is that I learn how to trust myself and that I learned how to trust God before I'm ever concerned about can I trust another person outside of myself. After betrayal, in the women that I work with, many women oftentimes believe that they just completely missed what had happened. You know, they just feel like I had no idea. There were no indicators, there were no signs. But it's interesting as we often unpack that and even take some time to reflect upon that, she begins to be more aware that there were missed signs, there were red flags, there were things that didn't quite sit right. But perhaps she was talked out of them, perhaps she talked herself out of them, perhaps she gave the benefit of the doubt. You know, just it can be these little things, but somewhere along the way we override and we erode that sense of like, I'm gonna trust my gut and I'm gonna check things out. And so this really isn't about failing, right? It's not about failing. It's not about beating yourself up of I was such an idiot, I can't believe that I missed those things. It's part of our learning curve and our learning experience. This is me reflecting back on where did I not follow through with checking out that intuition? Where did I allow myself to be talked out of a boundary? Where was I naive in believing something that didn't sit right with my gut? All of those can be indicators. And so I appreciate some of these ways to rebuild self-trust. For example, reframing the story. Instead of saying to ourselves, like, I'm such an idiot, I can't believe I missed it, I'm so dumb, I'm so foolish. Really being able to be gentle to ourselves and say, you know, I responded at the time with the information and the capacity and the values I had at that time. To really be gentle, right? I mean, we don't go into marriage or into a relationship thinking, you know what? I probably can't trust this person. And so I'm going to go in with skepticism and doubt and cynicism. I think so often we go in and of course we gave trust, right? Like, why would we not have? And so I think also just being so gentle with ourselves in the matter of how we reframe this. And so it's not about blame. It is about reconnecting to our awareness. It's about making a vow and a declaration to ourselves of no more. Like, I'm really going to learn what it means to listen to myself. Self-trust also is about making small promises to yourself. Make a promise, keep a promise. We know that that is such an important dynamic when it comes to a relationship, but first with ourselves, right? Are we doing that here? Are we following that through, where if we say we're going to do something, we do it? If I say I'm going to get up in the morning and go to the gym, do I get up in the morning and go to the gym? And this is not about perfection. It's not about shaming ourselves. It's not about doing it perfectly, but it's about consistency. It's about proving to ourselves, look, I got you. You know, I got you. And so we don't have to have something external that we're going to rely on. Like, we can count on ourselves. I trust myself because I follow through with myself. It also can look like we don't override ourselves anymore. You know, we stop overriding. So we don't get talked out of our boundary, right? I don't have to act right now. I don't have to know what I'm going to do right now, but I'm going to give myself permission to slow down and pay attention to what's going on. I'm not going to override. I'm not going to bypass myself, and I'm not going to be talked out of that. It's a really big one. Another big one is learning the difference between fear and intuition. Fear and intuition are not the same things. And so after betrayal especially, it's very, very understandable and common that everything feels like a threat, right? Everything can feel like your intuition. So part of rebuilding self-trust is learning what's the difference between fear and intuition? What's the difference between my trauma and my gut? Oftentimes fear tends to be loud, urgent, spiraling, kind of catastrophizing, right? Like we're really knocked out of our truth. We often like to say around here that triggers knock us out of our truth. And so if it really feels like loud, urgent, catastrophizing, spiraling, that is more common to be fear, versus our intuition telling us something is often more persistent. It's not just this eruption of emotion. It's more persistent, it's more quiet, it's more steady. And so even if we just like slow down and pay attention to, what is this feeling? What is this? Is this fear? Is this my intuition? What's going on here? So again, the goal is not to get this perfect, right? Like sometimes it can be hard to determine, what is this? Is this fear talking, or is this my intuition talking? And this is where also I think getting some wise people around you, a counselor, a therapist, other group members, can be really helpful to differentiate and determine, especially when we're early on in this journey. It can be really hard to determine what is what. Also, what's true is that we can redefine what trust looks like moving forward, right? I can guarantee you that going through this journey, how you trust people is not going to look the same. That's been a big part of my own journey, is that I give trust with anyone. I now give trust where it's earned. I used to give positional trust, right? You're my husband, here's my trust. You're my doctor, here's my trust. You're my pastor, here's my trust. And I think part of what we learn in this journey of recovery for women and men both is that we give trust where it's earned. And so it's built over time. And we look for consistency. Again, like I said earlier, make a promise, keep a promise, right? Like, is that other person, are they following through? Are they a person of their word? Do their words match their actions? Am I continuing to see deposits in the bank of honesty and safety? Are they a truth teller? Are they a safe person? We don't need to trust fast. We need to trust wise, right? And so there is no pressure to trusting again. It's all about, I'm going to take as long as it takes in order for me to trust myself and to trust others. So instead of trying to get to a place where you can trust fully and never get hurt again, part of this is beginning to shift towards this belief, as I said earlier, I trust myself to handle whatever happens. Like, I'm going to be okay. I can't create an environment or a world for myself where I'm never going to get hurt. Now, again, I'm going to make wise choices. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to check things out. I'm going to trust my gut. But ultimately, like, I don't have a control or certainty about the future. And so I'm going to learn what it means to really be able to know that I've got an anchor below my feet. I've got my own rug to stand on that's going to catch me. And so again, trusting yourself is not about becoming someone who never gets hurt. You know, we're not going to lock up our heart and our mind in a cage and never let them be vulnerable or exposed again. But we also are going to learn how to show up for ourselves no matter what. No more dismissing. No more being second, right? And putting ourselves last or putting ourselves second. Like we get to listen and trust what our brain and our body are trying to tell us. So welcome to the journey of learning how to trust yourself.